Not even sure if some of you guys were alive to remember this iconic rivalry, but let's jump back to 1999 when the world wasn't burning down and all we cared about was Saturday morning cartoons. At school, your friends ask, Pokemon or Digimon? And honestly, back in the day, I was Team Digimon. Even if Pokemon ultimately won out in the end, I still have great memories of watching Digimon every weekend with my cousins. So today, we're combining these two franchises and making each of the 8 original Digidestined into Pokemon gym leaders. I'm gonna treat each gym as a mid to late level gym just so I can make sure I'm able to represent as many forms of each Digimon partner as possible. I'm gonna also avoid using Pokemon in the same evolutionary line, just cause that's honestly just too easy and no fun. Lastly, not every Pokemon in their team will have the gym leader's typing, just cause I want to be as authentic as possible when representing some of these Digimon. With that said, let's collect all 8 Digi-Badges in 3, 2, 1... Let's start off with Taichi Kamiya, or simply, Tai. Tai was the leader of the group and always sprung into adventure headfirst, being the first to rock those signature Digimon leader goggles. Tai's Digimon was Agumon, and these two were pretty much the same person. Agumon had 3 Digivolutions showcased throughout the show, not counting Skull Greymon. Agumon first Digivolves into Greymon, and then into Metal Greymon, and lastly, Warp Digivolves into War Greymon. Because of Agumon's Pepper Breath and other flame-related attacks, Tai will definitely be a Fire-type gym leader. Tai's team will consist of Charmander for Agumon, Tyrantrum for Greymon, Aggron for Metal Greymon, and Magmortar for War Greymon. Next up is Tai's friendly rival, Yamato Ishida, better known as Matt. Compared to Tai, Matt was always a lot more serious and level-headed, like the Sasuke to Tai's Naruto, you know? His partner was Gabumon, who was hands down the most loyal partner of all the Digimon. Gabumon digivolved into Garurumon, then Were-Garurumon, and Warp digivolved into Metal Garurumon. So a lot of Gabumon's abilities are also along the lines of a blue fire, kinda like Azula or Dabi, but since Metal Garurumon does have an ice missile attack, and to complement Matt's rivalry with Tai, I'm making Matt the Ice-type gym leader. His team will have Cubchoo for Gabumon, Glaceon as Garurumon, Lycanroc's Midnight form as the perfect Were-Garurumon, and the Alolan Sandslash with its steel typing as Metal Garurumon. Now onto the mother hen of the group and Matt's future wife, Sora Takanochi. Without Sora, Tai and Matt honestly would have just beat each other up the entire show. Her Digimon partner was Biyomon, a friendly and cheerful bird-like Digimon. Biyomon's Digivolutions include Birdramon and Garudamon. I know there's also Phoenixmon, but we're gonna mainly stick to the forms shown in the original run of Digimon Adventure. With another set of fire-like attacks, I instead decided to have Sora be a flying-type gym leader, especially when the name Sora literally translates to sky. Sora's Pokemon team will include Oricore's Bylestyle as Biyomon, Talonflame as Birdramon, and even though it's not a flying type, I couldn't resist Blaziken being Garudamon. I mean, just look at them. Up next is Mimi Tachikawa. When you first meet Mimi, you think she's that girl. You know, spoiled, rich girl. But under all that is honestly a super sweet and pure-hearted person. Palmon was her Digimon partner and had a lot in common with Mimi. They were both super playful, extroverted, and sometimes a little ditzy. Palmon digivolves into the Cactuar-like Digimon Togemon, and then again into Lilymon. With the obvious plant motif, I'm of course gonna make Mimi the grass-type gym leader. At first you'd think Lombre was a weird choice for Palmon, but put them side by side and it's just too good to pass up. Then we'll throw in Cacturn as Togemon, and the perfect match for Lilymon, the flowering Pokemon, Lilligant. Now for the brain of the group, Koshiro Izumi, or Izzy for short. Izzy is super tech-savvy and was actually my second favorite Digidestined. His partner Digimon was Tentomon, who at times could be overcautious, but is intelligent and keeps his priorities straight. Tentomon digivolves into Kabuterimon, and then again into Mega Kabuterimon. Now what's interesting is I can actually make Izzy the bug or electric type gym just cause both would actually be pretty good representations. But I went with bug type cause there's some pretty solid matchups that push it over the edge. Tentomon has a striking resemblance to Paris, and Mega Kabuterimon is of course the other horned beetle, Heracross. Lastly, for Kabuterimon, I went with Vikavolt, to reference the electric-like attacks of all these Digimon. Joe Kido. Joe is honestly kind of my spirit animal. Stressing out over small things, overly cautious, and overall having that chaotic energy. Which is why his partner Digimon, Gomamon, really balances him out with his laid-back and chill personality. Gomamon digivolves into Ikakumon, and again into Zudomon. Since these Digimon are generally based off aquatic creatures, I went ahead and made Joe the water-type gym leader. Joe's team will consist of Seal to represent Gomamon, and Walrein, who can be a less hairy version of Ikkakumon. Zudomon is pretty much a chimera of a bunch of different animals, so I also went with a chimera-like Pokemon, Silvally. Takeru TK Takaishi was my favorite character growing up. TK being the youngest of the group and me being the youngest in my family, I just always related to that baby of the group role. TK's partner Patamon also shared in that kid energy, so they got along super well. Patamon digivolves into Angemon and then into Magna Angemon. I know there's an obvious angel motif, so fairy typing would actually be a really good fit. But since Angemon and Magna Angemon are like buff men, I decided to go with fighting typing instead, which actually has some perfect matches for these angels. For Patamon though, I went with Helioptile just cause the resemblance is uncanny. Then for Angemon, I went with Gallade. And lastly, Mega Metacham as Magna Angemon. Last up is Tai's younger sister, Kari Kamiya. Kari's story was always my favorite to follow because it was so different from the rest of the Digidestined. And this is especially shown in her partner Gatomon. Gatomon started off as actually one of the bad guys, but eventually went through a whole redemption arc. And here we love a good redemption arc. Gatomon is also the only Digimon to stay in her champion level, so we're gonna go ahead and throw in her ultimate level Angemon and her rookie level Salamon. Kari will be the fairy type gym leader because of Angemon, but seeing as a dog digivolves into a cat and then into an adult woman, I feel like I have a little bit more leeway here. For Salamon, I went with Riolu. Then, for Gatomon Sass, I think it would be perfectly represented through Alolan Meowth. And lastly, Gardevoir will of course represent Agumon. Looking back, despite many of the similarities between Pokemon and Digimon, I still love some of the things that made Digimon so unique. The fact that the Digimon partners actually spoke English really did a lot to show the connection between the kids and their Digimon. It made me want a Digimon partner so badly. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe to get more Pokemon, Digimon, and other crossover content. Later.